The significance of imparting the various aspects of the historical culture of the Virgin Islands to the younger generations was highlighted during the February 5th episode of JTV's Spotlight program hosted by Cromwell Smith. Looking back at the Virgin Islands' traditional ways from 1940 onwards, author, historian, and educator Jenny Wheatley says the way of life decades ago was sustainable.
There's a caring aspect to us. It's true, the entire Caribbean. It's true of some of the small areas in the United States. You had that looking out for each other, you know. And if somebody didn't have, you're going to know, and you're going to send something. If you had a coal pit, just as it was in the Bible, you left the fine coal for the poor person to pick up. You didn't pay for that, you know. The fish, you left the small fish for the person that was free, you know. And at Christmas time, I can remember the days when you had one ham or two hams in the village. But you slice them and send in a sauce to people. If you kill a goat, a piece of meat went to somebody, you know, the baking and what have you.
Ms. Wheatley said there was also a tradition of developing independence among young males with respect to ownership of land and home. The tradition of passing on the various trades was a part of everyday living and was automatically passed on to the younger generation and resulted in a more stable family structure because of the support given by family members and the community. She added that young females were brought up to be virtuous young women and squirmed at the sagging culture practiced by many young males today. She said young ladies were modest and properly attired.
You were well clothed. Whatever the standard was that you had was properly done, you know. And I think it still bothers us to see young ladies with all that skin showing, you know, and they can't bend over because there's so much showing. And the young men in a different category with the pants down and so forth, you know, it bothers us because we think it shouldn't be that way.
Changes in parental and socialization practices along with cultural penetration, especially through media sources, were identified as the reasons for a change in values in the Virgin Islands society.
The influences that you have on you, on the child today, the influences are different. The American influences or whatever, it's a different thing altogether. We didn't even see these things. We didn't have any television or what have you. If, for instance, a tourist came through the village and, you know, wasn't dressed properly, well, that was just that person, you know. But you're seeing so much nowadays, and it seems to be the norm.
Both Jenny Wheatley and the youth who joined the discussion agree that efforts should be made to recapture and maintain good values and traditions such as caring and respect amidst the evolving cultural practices via the education system. They also spoke to the role of the media in disseminating positive messages to the society.
I think that there is hope. We could bring back some of the things. I won't say that we will go back to cooking on stones, but we could embrace a lot more of the past in terms of how we treat one another and going back to the community, being caring enough for everyone, not just looking for that you're not my child, I don't really care about you, but I think that we could go back to some of those values.
I mean, we can't just say this is what we've evolved to, because to be honest, Virgin Island culture and Virgin Island past was a beautiful time. We cared about each other, we looked out for one another, and we were well off. We didn't have, well, I mean, in the earlier days, we didn't have electricity and stuff, but we weren't poor. We were happy, we were content, and we had morals and we had values, and the whole community was a family. And so now we see a whole totally different thing, and now we have issues in the community. And I'm going to be honest, we do have a lot of issues, and I think to look back in the past to see how we were and to see how we are now, I think it's definitely worthwhile. I mean, we were there before. I think we can get back to it, and I think if we have enough support from the government, from families, from everybody trying, and the media, I think it can be done.
In observation of Black History Month during February, local historians and cultural activists will appear on the Spotlight program to highlight various aspects of Virgin Islands historical culture. JTV Channel 55 will also broadcast movies and documentaries, including a lecture on post-traumatic slave syndrome, the Noah Lloyd documentary, Black Candle, and many others throughout this month.